It's been years since we carved our names on a clock tower door before everything changed. We were big-eyed boys with the salt on our skin, and we'd throw our kites to the wind, and they'd fly on and 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 on. It's been years since we carved our names on a clock tower door before everything changed. We were big-eyed boys with the salt on our skin, and we'd throw our kites to the wind, and they'd fly on and 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 on. It's been years. Lines on our skin. Towers gone now. Throw our dust to the wind.
Roll up, take a puff, never ever get enough. Shades on, haze on, baby, are we cool enough? Face up, makeup, making all the boys stop. Sweet talk.
Oh, hello, chat. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey.
And
That
there
was
it is.
What's the thing?
almost
Hey,
musical.
Hey.
Almost musical. We did it, guys. This
I know.
is it's episode 100 here. And before we start this episode, and before a big crowd of people come in from the launcher, for all of you that are typically here before shows and stuff, we're going to do a quick giveaway for a Valier bundle. Thanks to Blizzard for supplying all this stuff. They've been awesome,
Yes.
amazing. So if you want a chance at that Valier bundle, just type in 100 in the chat here, and we'll get that going before too many people get in here for you guys. But then we'll also have some more giveaways after the show. So,
do they have to spell out 100, or can they just type 100?
Just the number 100. Yeah. Number.
Oh, okay.
That'd be terrible. Like that would like
that happened last week because I called you guys in the separate order, and so multi was where TBK should be, and TBK was multi.
That did happen.
It was Skippy the Wonder Chicken was like, I was really confused. It was like halfway through the episode, and I was like, oh crap.
I noticed it pretty early on, and I didn't want to say anything in the episode, so I just kind of wrote it in chat, and I was like, they'll see it eventually.
Oh, anyway. They gave us a cool like golden
Let me
text
check it
for our
out.
100th episode. So nice.
Where is this? On the launcher?
Yeah, on the launcher / Twitter. It's so nice of them. All right. Shall we count down for our 100?
Let's do it.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Space Pope.
Space Pope.
Look at you,
Nice.
buddy. Congrats.
Congrats.
And again, guys, we're going to have some more giveaways after the show and throughout the week on Facebook, Twitter, Discord, that type of stuff. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll get more into that.
Definitely
stuff
join the
during
Discord.
Yeah.
Everyone gets super hyped when the contest channel disappears and then reappears.
Well, they get more hyped when it reappears.
That's true. It's sad when it goes away.
So, Crispy in chat has been. We play Quick Match a lot, and like the past week, he's been every time he messaged me, he's like, "Quick Match? Like I can't right now, man. I can't." First, I had to finish my placement matches, then I, was getting stuff ready for this episode. But all right, guys, I think we're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. Episode 100. Only one of these.
Good.
I mean, I guess
just one.
I guess technically there's only one of each episode.
One of everything.
Right.
It's such a nice round.
Oh
number.
my gosh.
I like round numbers. Absolutely.
All right, we're not going to start right this second. We're going to start in like 5 seconds, maybe 10. I kind of need my sounders.
Oh, nah.
Had it charging. Look at that. I've been Chris, what are you doing getting in trouble, getting your messages deleted? Don't anger Moobot. She's very susceptible to that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't control Moobot.
Yeah, we don't control Moobot. Moobot controls us.
Moobot is. We're looking at switching to the Twitch moderation thing. So,
and potentially,
if it works out well, then we'll just get rid of Moobot.
Yeah, and potentially adding some mods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
All right,
That's
I'm
in the
almost
future.
ready. See, I'm so flustered tonight.
I know, man. I'm so nervous.
Okay.
It's 100th episode.
All right, guys, I promise. Now we're ready.
Are we? Okay.
This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Greetings, mortal. Thunder! Lightning! Whoa, that's kind of frightening.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 100 of Lords of the Storm, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I'm your host, Greg Parker, a.k.a. Gizmo Zord, but you can call me Gizmo. And on this week's episode, We are going to take a look back on our journey to 100, as well as get to the latest in Heroes and dive into our Valeera discussion this week for our Hero of the Week. We also want to take this time here real quick to give a huge shout out for Blizzard, or to Blizzard, for once again featuring us on their launcher for this special episode for us. And they also gave us some goodies to give away at the end of the show and throughout the week, so make sure to stick around for those. But of course, joining me this evening, as always, are some more of the Zord Lords themselves. First up, we have Mr. Kevin Ellis, a.k.a. Multi-Zord. Multi, how are you doing?
I like goodies, Greg. I like them a lot better than baddies. Just for the record.
It's true.
Yes, and no, I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing, of course, as always, fantastic. Fantastic. Already going to the throwbacks. Also joining us, as always, Mr. Ryan Reeder, a.k.a. TBK Zord. TBK, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm super excited. I don't know if I've done 100 episodes of anything before. In fact, I have not.
On Netflix? You haven't watched like 100 episodes of a show on Netflix?
Oh, okay. Wait a second. Now you're making me think. Is all of Parks and Rec 100 episodes?
I mean,
maybe.
I'm over 100 episodes into One Piece right now.
Okay, so Stargate is over 100 episodes.
There you go.
Okay,
guys,
so I lied.
I gotta say, I'm strangely nervous for this episode, and it's not, the launcher stuff. It is there. This podcast has meant so much to all of us, I think, and as we've been going, finding out to a lot of people. And it's just, this is such a huge milestone for us, it being our first podcast ever, and we'll get into more of this stuff later, but it's got the jitters going, and I'm excited for it. So before I break anything, let's get on into it. Let's just hop into what you guys have been up to in gaming this week here for a little bit. Multi, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've been playing some of my Hearthstone, some of my Heroes, and in Heroes in particular, I'm just trying to actually pick up Valeera some more, get some more games in with her, try it out. It's starting to click more. I mentioned last week that, she's not exactly my typical regular play style. The squishy assassins aren't my usual bag, but I'm going to make an exception for her because I just love the play style and the escapability and, really getting into her. But otherwise, okay, so I did, spoiler alert, I did try a Tassadar game as well, and we'll get to that, but opposite story there.
Okay, I'm sure I will counter you on that. TBK,
Oh, really? Okay.
TBK, what have you been up to this week?
It's been all Heroes. I've been playing the crap out of Valeera. She's much more my play style than Zul'jin was, and she's a ton of fun. I've been trying to please the chicken, and I pleased it enough, and he gave me a cool mount. So that was exciting.
Nice.
As
That's
well.
so
Yeah.
nice of him.
I know. It's just so sweet. And
It
so,
seems
yeah,
like he got nicer, just like
he
earlier
did
this
get nicer. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, I've spent a lot of time in Heroes this week, of course, and I finally finished my placement matches, and I gotta say, Nazeebo all the way, just carrying me through. I think I'm 8-1 with him right now. 2 placements. Then I've games I can't pick him, I've typically lost, except for a Tassadar match. But holy cow, it is. I think people in gold, probably platinum, gold, platinum, and below, just don't move from spiders when things get crazy, and it destroys people.
That sounds fantastic.
It is. It
I'm gonna have to
destroys
try
people.
that out. Because you're going full spider build, right?
Oh, yeah,
full spider
absolutely.
build, and then level 20, he just gets stupid, crazy damage wise.
But it's ridiculous. It's you get a lot of heat drafting Nazeebo for some reason. Like I have had people just cancel games as soon as I draft them.
Really?
And and then I even got a match right after they canceled. Got another match, had 2 of the same people, and they're like, "Oh, playing Nazeebo, one trick pony, GG. Here we go, gonna lose again." And then by the end of the game, I got 8 votes, and they're like, "Sorry about that. You're pretty good,
and your
Nazeebo."
hero damage and
like,
siege
yes.
is probably nuts too.
Thank
and
you.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
But let's go ahead get on into the Heroes stuff here real quick. TBK, what do we got going on in store sales this week?
We've actually got some good stuff. So the Lunar Festival celebration is still going on. So we have Chen and then the Lunar Chen skin, as well as the incredibly sweet Cyberhawk Kael'thas skin.
Yes.
I really like it. I'm gonna pick it up. I think it's definitely worth it at half price.
Yeah, that'll be one I
And-
pick up as well.
Yeah, I need to play Kael'thas more. He's starting to come back in a little bit, especially since Li Ming kind of started falling off, especially after the Calamity nerf. So he seems like a good one to try out, and that's an amazing skin to do it on. And then for those who have asked, Monkey King Samuro is now an individual skin.
What?
And they usually start breaking off some of the stuff from the bundles a little week to whatever after. So I expect we'll see the Nimbus Cloud mount at some point separate. But yeah, the Monkey King Samuro skin is now individually buyable. So if you didn't want the whole bundle, but you did want that skin, now's the chance to get it.
I actually caved and got the bundle today as I signed on. I was just so hyped for episode number 100. I was
Nothing
like,
wrong with that.
Let's just do
It's a
this. I
sweet
want
bundle.
that Cloud, the Li Ming skin more than the Monkey King for me, but also why not? I don't really
The Li
love any
Ming
of
skin is
Samuro's other
incredible.
skins, and yeah, that is so.
Yeah.
Physics, it's animated, it's got cool, like the cloth is like,
Yeah,
I
the cloth
don't
is
even
kind of what
know.
sold me, honestly.
I don't
Cloth
even know
physics.
whatever my hands are doing. Like it's
Yeah,
it flows. It's cool.
Yeah, this was the first bundle I broke down and got in a long time, which is again just super strange for me because I love throwing money at my screen. But I had to get it for the Nimbus Cloud mount. I could not miss that after missing the Nazebo Ginger Dread Nazebo. So
I do regret missing the Ginger Dread as well.
yeah,
for the
especially now that like he's all I'm playing through Hero
Yeah,
League.
right.
So it's even worse.
Oh, and it's such a good skin too.
Multi, real quickly here, what do we got going on in the free hero rotation?
Oh, it's pretty straightforward, although some of the heroes we just mentioned, Lili, ETC, Lunara, Dehaka, Li Ming's in there. We got Zool, Sylvanas at 5, Sinatra, Artanis at 7, Ariel at 12, and Samuro at 15. So, you know, if you've been looking at the Monkey King skin and you're starting to think to yourself, do I really want to get in there and try him out? You can for free. Boom.
Or
Done.
do I really want to buy a skin for a character I don't own?
Didn't you do that for
who would
Abathur?
do that?
Sure. I did. I actually bought the Pajamathur skin before I owned Avatar during
That's
a free
dedication.
week.
Another flashback.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So real quickly here, the brawl this week is Heroes of the Stars. Is that the title of it? Hero of the Stars? Heroes of the Stars. But it is on. Oh my gosh, Braxis Holdout. There we go. And this week the rules are featuring either StarCraft heroes or heroes with StarCraft skins. And they're a little loose on that term. Pretty much any like mechanical looking skin thing because Tracer's in there. But I'd played one game before the show here. That's an okay brawl. That's going to be one that's kind of hard to judge because like my game, for instance, had 3 Sergeant Hammers on my team, no tank, no support, so it was kind of wonky and kind of quick. And then I imagine there's going to be some games that are more just like a average game. So
So is it just a regular? I haven't tried it yet. Is it just a regular game otherwise?
yes, the only thing changed is the death timer is capped at 40 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right.
So get in there, check that out. It's a kind of a cool Rainer portrait this week, and it's always 1,000 gold. So why not get that? But now we got that stuff out of the way. We're gonna take some time just to.
Are you not going to let me rant?
Okay, well, I paused and you hadn't played it.
That's why I
You wanna
did.
rant?
That's
Go
why I
ahead.
did that.
He was making a really small sound. But yeah, go on.
I think this is a super lazy brawl.
Yeah.
I think this is incredibly lazy, and it does not fit into the brawl theme at all. Like, I love you, Blizzard, but at least give us a more substantial mutator. Like, do this and double the damage. Like, do this and make like doubly short cooldowns. Make the Zerg wave have party hats. Or something.
Party
Like I don't know. It just
Something. Yeah.
it's just it seems so especially now that we have the Cursed Hollow sandbox mode. It seems so easy to add a mutator of some sort that won't cause the game on average to last just as long as an average game, but give you no hero XP or anything. And so it's just one of those things where it's just like, I want to play the brawl for the craziness. I want to play the brawl for the weird stuff. And okay, give me a regular game. Start with a base. That's fine. But then throw something in. You can have your off brawl weeks. That's cool. I understand that. You're not going to have that Black Hearts, custom map for every single brawl. But at the very least, do some things to kind of speed up the game a little bit or make it interesting. Like the faster game speed or the double damage or something.
Or that super sweet mech boss in Braxis Holdout. Just have like 10 of those out at the same time, pushing all the lanes, fighting against each other, going nuts. Could be cool.
Well, and what kind of blows my mind about it, the only mutator that they kind of had was that the death timers were capped at 40 seconds, which the only thing that will do is extend the game.
Because people are coming back.
Yeah,
and
because they're coming
lanes,
back faster. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I choose to think, okay, Brawl was a little, less happening there this week. Maybe that means they're working on something big. I don't know.
Could be.
But, and I mean, these are going to happen just because, again, you can't do something special every week or something that in depth.
There's not even death timer caps.
Are you sure?
I just looked up the rules. It's all it is shuffle pick. Standard play.
Right below that. Are you looking on a website or in the actual game client?
I'm looking at their official
in the game client. And if anyone else in chat knows this, because I played it right before the show, right below that it said death timers are capped at 40 seconds. I don't know where else I would have just pulled that out of.
Regardless, I don't consider that a mutator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these things do happen, like you said. It certainly happens in Hearthstone, which this week, awkwardly, the brawl that they have going now is the Christmas one, a couple months late, like literally allowing you to unlock the Christmas card back if you didn't do it last year. So it's kind of weird, but, weird stuff happens. It's a mode in which weird things happen. So I don't get too bent out of shape about that. The only thing that I do perhaps get a little bent out of shape on is the just match length. Like going through these versus just your standard, arena type mode with the infernals and that sort of thing. To me, I don't know if I'm gonna sink all 3 games into this for the gold.
Yeah.
Frankly,
I honestly think this might be the first brawl that I don't
don't
end up doing.
Yeah.
It's
fair point.
It's just like there's 1,000 gold. I don't need the gold, and portraits are just whatever. So I just if I'm going to play 3 games of Braxis Holdout, I'll play it on a hero that I can get the actual hero progression for.
Yeah.
And just call it a day. So I love brawl mode. I love what they're trying to do with it, but I feel like we've had too many that are just super standard with just tiny tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this I just don't want full-length games that are just regular.
Fair enough. When this would make sense, though? If Braxis Holdout was a brand new map. Yeah. And it was a chance for us to get in there and just play around with it.
That's different.
Like the Returning Haunted Mines, that was fine.
And I think it would also be better, and I think we touched on this because people were complaining about the whole not getting experience. Just the fact that if you play a hero that you own in a brawl, that you get experience for that hero. If you don't own the hero, you don't get experience, but then you're getting a chance to try out that hero. It's kind of a nice trade-off. While that doesn't affect the game mode very much, it kind of makes these more regular game types. At least, just give you a little bit more reason to play them. So, good. Okay.
A little more variety. That's all I ask is just a little more variety.
All right. So now that we got that quick stuff out of the way, now this time. Looking at TBK, not looking at me. Okay. We're going to take a little time to reflect on our journey to 100 episodes here. And this is kind of the part I'm nervous and giddy for because there's so much that we could talk about and that I want to talk about, and I don't forget stuff, and it's just going to get crazy. But we asked you guys throughout this last week just kind of, if you had any favorite moments from the show or just kind of your overall opinions here. And we got a lot of responses from you guys, so we just want to take some time to go through those here. And for everyone that sent us a response here, just thank you so much. So TBK, if you want to kick it off with Mr. Space Pope.
I do. Space Pope says, thanks to Lords of the Storm and the Discord, I've met people that I call friends. That's pretty special. That is pretty special.
That is very cool.
It's really cool.
And we got one from Goliath who writes, I just want to say that I'm so glad I stumbled onto this community. In all the years I've been gaming, I've never had a better time playing than I am right now. This community has been an absolute blast to play with, and the podcasts are always a good listen and valuable tool when I want to pick up a new hero. 10 out of 10, folks. I hope to have more games for a long time. I hope that sometime soon the Zords start putting out some vids. There's an idea.
Yeah.
And he also adds, here's to another 100, and the 100 after that. See you in the Nexus. Thanks, Zords. So thank you, Goliath. That's awesome.
Yes, from Freakazord, we had. I just wanted to say that I appreciate TBK, Gizmo, and Multi a lot for taking time out of their lives to talk about heroes. Helpful tips, the talk about esports, and the community shoutouts are my favorite segments. The down-to-earth, real way this is presented makes it appealing to me. One of the reasons I continue listening. So thank you guys. Hoping for many more episodes to come. Congratulations. Thank you, Freaka.
Cool.
Freaka.
Yeah. Arc Monkey says, my favorite moment in the show was when you guys doing the draft face-off and resolving it via expert AI, informative and entertaining.
More of that to come.
We're
Yes.
very excited to announce there will be a second Lord of the Draft.
Yes.
And it will be me versus Multi.
Since I
Oh,
was
and you're
time
so
around.
dead. You're so dead.
I'm going to have to hold on to my crown. I'm super excited about it.
All right, the next one is, I am terrible at pronouncing this name. Was it
Daifer?
Daifer?
Yeah, that's what I...
Forgive me on this one, but Daifer writes, one of my favorite moments was the time when Tim from Heroes of Fitness came on the show and the Zord crew was low-key memeing and chat with me. So, yeah, I really like that episode quite a bit as well. Shout-outs to Tim.
Smash Buddy, which is an awesome name, by the way, says, also, my favorite memory of the show was when you guys ranted about how a good Murky player is like a beautifully orchestrated piece of music. Made me feel like a boss playing Murky. And I remember that episode because it was our first ridiculously long episode that we had to split it into two.
Yep. It was very long.
Was it over 2 hours?
It was
It
over
was a
2
total-
hours.
And full disclosure, that's because we had huge tech issues in the middle of recording it. Everything shut down in the middle, and so we had to bring it back up. And we had no real gauge on where we were at on time, so we just kept talking about how awesome Murky is, and it became 2 hours. So we split it up into 2 episodes.
And that was back in the good old days of we were not live. We were in Mumble. So the sound quality was horrible. And then my editing took me forever because it was 3 separate tracks. And at that point, I had to go through, edit out all the background noise and stuff like that. So
Dude, you were like
not
lining
miss
up the
those
tracks and all kinds
Oh
of
my
stuff.
gosh. Yeah, that was a
Insane.
late night for you.
Yes, it was. All right.
So Dunkstick, one of our Lords of the Lane champions multiple times over, actually, says, thanks for all the cool events, and it shows you guys are on. Lords of the Storm has been such a friendly community. Thank you, Dunkstick.
Yeah, of course he'd thank us for the events. He wins all.
I know.
No, seriously, thank you. But
There will be more Lords of the Lane, and it will most likely be in March. And for those of you who don't know, since I know there's a lot of new people joining us, it's our 2v2 tournament, and it takes place on Lost Caverns. So we always give some prizes out. It's super fun. We'll be announcing, of course, on the show when it actually is, but we need some competition for Dunk.
We do.
Yep.
So find yourself a partner and keep your ears open.
And Multi
Very true.
from Blackout.
We've got Blackout, who really has been around forever. He starts it off by confirming this. Been listening since episode 1. A group of friends discussing a game they love. It's all I wanted for myself when I started playing. Filled a nice void for me. Love you guys. Cheers to 100 more. So, again, I mean, this is a guy we've been talking to since the start. I think he was some of the initial feedback we got for the show. So, no, thank you, sir, for sticking around with us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's
It's a
been
long time.
Yeah, he's had a huge part in our community, especially since the Discord's been up and running, and just
Yeah.
really good player, really good guy. So if you see him in Discord, give him a little shout out. Totally Drunk, episode 100 already. Daggum. Not daggum,
Daggum.
but daggum.
There you go.
Y'all have come a long way. Been a pleasure every step of the way.
I still think he's trolling me on that one, but thank you, Totem. I appreciate it. He's going to mess with me down the road somewhere, but
From Luke Ouroboros, Zord. Grats to Lords of the Storm on episode 100. TBK Multi Gizmo, you guys are awesome, and I'm proud to support the show. And we are proud to have you support the show
We are.
because you've been awesome. He's been a patron from very early on and a big supporter, so we really appreciate you, dude.
very much so. Very much so. So the next one's from Jules Scott, actually, a name some of you might recognize out there, who writes 100 episodes. That's fantastic. Congrats to all the Zords. And then she did this, like, I don't know, it's like a less than symbol and a 3.
What does that
It must
mean?
be a
Who
heart
knows? Who
or
knows?
something. I haven't figured it out. But thank you, Jules.
The next one here comes from Richard Harlow, who sent this to us over Facebook. And he says, I'm so thankful you guys have been doing your show every week. I'm legally blind and struggle with playing games because of my reduced vision. I love playing the game still. It's you guys where I get my weekly news about the game because generally it's hard looking things up, and it's really boring hearing a robot text-to-speech program tell me news. You guys have improved my game a lot and made the game more accessible for me. Please keep on doing this podcast because you have really helped build the community. I have even made some friends from the Lots channel and Heroes chat, and they're people who understand my vision impairment and don't judge and troll. So this one, and I actually know Demonic Rick here from CTR. I raided with them back at Throne of Thunder on Mr. Pandaria a few times. We did some pug raids. But this message kind of, I know, hit me especially hard. And this is one of the things that I was talking about when we started this show, just as at that time 5 guys who knew nothing about podcasting, didn't really expect anyone to listen. We just did it because we were already talking about Heroes. And for what it has grown into in 100 episodes, let alone us make it to 100 episodes, and getting feedback like this, that it really makes everything worth it, because there are times when doing a podcast can be hard. It takes a ton of extra time, especially when you're already doing a full-time job and trying to not only do a podcast about the games but be able to have time to enjoy the games. Makes every single late night editing, fixing tech issues back whenever we didn't know what we were doing, it makes it all worth it. So thank you very much for sending that letter in.
Absolutely.
Is someone cutting onions in here?
Yeah.
'Cause I read
No,
that.
it blew
and
me away.
Yeah, that was
Blew me away. And
really
at the end
appreciate it.
part, where he's talking about how he's made friends with the Lots channel and Heroes chat, and people aren't trolling or judging or anything. That's just the general feel in there. If anyone's listening to this and you haven't joined us yet, not to plug the Discord again in here, throwing in here, but seriously, that's what it's like out there, and we appreciate all you guys for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of the amazing things. We have this entire community now just in the game itself that's, was
True,
started
yeah.
from the podcast but doesn't really have anything to do with the podcast. And I'm sure we have people in there who don't listen to the podcast or podcasts at all. Probably don't even know what Lords of the Storm is. They just found the Discord, and it really is an amazing community. It's a safe place for players of all skill levels to just come in and have a good time.
That's right.
Agreed. Jurg writes, "Hey Zords, congrats on 100. Relatively new listener, but I wish I had known about you guys from the start. Keep it up." Thank you, Dirk. We wish we had known about you too.
Yes, we have. Dude, thank you for relivening us up here. So this next one is from Asmodon. There are a lot of letters in there. It's really drawn out, but I like it. Is it Vol'jin or Zul'jin? That is the question.
I
episode
don't know
100.
at this point.
What is it?
I don't even know at this point. It's Zul'jin.
It's something Jin. Okay, we can agree on that. We can agree on that. Anyway, episode 100. Been following since episode 23 and love you guys. Keep up the great work and making my Friday amazing. So thank you.
Yes. And then Calumore. I'm not sure what my favorite memory would be. Probably the episode from the BlizzCon panel. Absolutely loved listening to Into the Guys with the other podcasters. Those are always fun to do. I know I did one 2 years ago. TBK did it this year. And it's really cool just getting together with those guys. Again, the rest of the podcasting community in the Heroes area is always really
Amazing.
supportive. And we love interacting with those guys. So always really fun.
I did the Overwatch one if you want to listen to that one. It's pretty good.
You did.
Anyway.
It was pretty good. I listened to that
Thanks.
one. Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Beard Howard says, Lord of the Storm, grats on 100 episodes. Here's to 100 more.
Yes. So
Thank you,
That's
guys.
the plan.
thank you guys so much for sending those in here. We really do appreciate it, and hearing all the feedback. It's again, it just makes it makes everything we do here. It makes us feel nice. All the kind little fuzzies inside. But we do have one more here that was sent in by Core Gaming, and this is he sent us a nice little video in here, so we'll take a look at that real quick.
Fancy.
Fancy.
Hey guys, Corey here from Core Gaming. I just wanted to say thank you for this weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast, an amazing Discord community, the Lords of the Lane tournaments, the annual Heroes Charity Brawl, basically just everything you guys do. From the standpoint of a content creator and a Heroes of the Storm player, the work you guys do is really inspirational. You are a staple of the Heroes of the Storm community, and I can't wait for the next 100 episodes.
So thank you so much to Core Gaming. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, he is a YouTube content creator, does a lot of stuff in Heroes, and always has supported our show. So thank you so much, and we're glad that other content creators feel that if we're helping you in any way, again, that's just awesome, and we're glad to be able to help out there. So, and we were talking about this just before the show here. Episode 1. Went back and listened to that thing today. For people like Blackout who have been here since episode 1, first off, just thank you so much for sticking that through, because wow.
I don't recommend as a new listener that you go back and listen to episode 1.
It is.
I cannot recommend that.
No. Listen to just Gizmo's intro to the first one. Just stop after that. But Gizmo's intro is totally worth it.
It's it's just the sound quality is awful. The mic didn't have the nice setup. It was in mumble. I have no emotions. I'm just monotone robot.
Well, we were all on headsets, right? At the time? I don't think
Yeah.
any of us had an actual mic yet.
Nah, did I have a Yeti? I think I had a Yeti at the time from my
You did
failed
already?
YouTube channel.
You may
that
have
I
had the
attempted.
nice one.
I did.
Oh, overachiever here. Okay. Good deal.
But
see, like that kind of speaks to that era of the show, though, because when we first started this off, I mean, we just were a bunch of friends wanting to get on here, talk on the computer about the game. You know what I mean? Like, and I think even then we were talking about, we don't really know if anyone's going to actually listen to it. We hope some people do, and we get a little feedback. But I can remember when, like, our first episode that cleared 100 downloads happened, and we were just like, wow, this is really getting out there, man. This is insane.
it was like the first day, I think we had like 25 or something. And we were like, holy cow.
Yeah, even that was kind of like, wow, it's like we just did this in front of a classroom. That's cool. But it's grown a bit since then. And that's not something we necessarily anticipated. I feel like we probably would be at the same spot, despite like whether or not we had the growth, frankly. I think we just love this game enough that we would have carried through and gone through with it anyway. But again, to speak to the community that's grown around it, I mean, that's really all you guys. That's just the general love for the game, the love for what just we do, and other podcasts, other content creators like Core and that sort of thing. And so that's the stuff that's blown me away throughout this process. But again, to just bring you back to episode 1, when I go in my little speech about what the Zord Lords are, and like talking about who started it, actually that was my co-host of the Cavalry, Matt Zorns,
Who was on like,
and
2 episodes ago? 3 episodes?
Yeah, 2 episodes ago. And so, like, literally in my head, as I'm telling you that story on episode 1, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, well, no one's going to care about this. turns out people cared about it. It was cool. So
Yeah, and just seeing the transformation from not only production quality, but just getting more comfortable in front of the mics. Because again, it was just us kind of just talking to each other because we didn't have the podcasting experience, didn't really have the structure. But the structure that kind of came from that, I feel makes us really unique. And that's kind of, when Blackout's tweet of how we're just friends getting together to talk about a game. One of the things that I think separates us is while I am, the host of this podcast, this podcast can continue when I'm not here, which doesn't happen on a lot of podcasts. A lot of times if it's, the host is sick or out of town, it's just, we're not doing an episode this week. We'll, see you guys next week. But with, both Multi and TBK put, just as much, if not more work into this show, that when I'm not here, they can both step up and fill that role. Multi has hosting experience from doing the Cavalry now, and TBK is just a madman when it comes to the latest and greatest in Heroes of the Storm on news and esports. So it's pretty incredible, I think, and I don't think a whole lot of podcasts can do that. But
and TBK, just to your credit too. Well, yours as well, Greg. But I just want to specifically shout you out, TBK, in that you do a ton of the back end work for this show too. A lot of our networking, getting some of the guests, and I don't ever get cheesy enough around you and emotional enough to tell you how much I appreciate all you do, but I do, and we're on episode 100, so I may as well tell you that now.
That's so sweet. I almost spit my water out.
Yeah.
Real quick here.
I love you guys too. You work so hard.
So I didn't. I was trying to figure out and stuff like what I wanted to say tonight. Did I want to write a little speech, or I knew I was gonna forget stuff that I wanted to say. So I made some notes here, and I know I'm still gonna forget some stuff that I wanted to say. But I wanted to initially give a quick shout out here to both Pat, who is Smash Sword, not Stomp Sword, which I kept calling him for the first couple episodes, and Casey, who is Thor Zord. Those are our two other friends who joined us on the first few episodes of the show. And then, podcasting is hard. It takes up a lot of time. And they, decided that's not something they could commit the time to, which is completely fine. And then, even Smash wanted to still be a part of the show. So he did the tournament discussions for some episodes that we put in when we still weren't live, and those were fantastic. And then, his life got crazy too, and he had to step back. But this, they helped to found, they were the foundation of what this show was and has become. Right. So just wanted to give a huge shout out to them. I also want to thank all of our guests that we've had on the show here, which has been incredible. I thought about just trying to name them all. Don't want to do that because we've had so many that I knew I would forget somebody. But that has been one of the coolest experiences here. Again, just going from a fan of the show talking about it to being able to interview, starting out with, I believe it was Notch, who I listened to Stormcast all the time before we started the show. So it was really cool having him on. And then Gillyweed, whenever she was up and coming in the casting scene, and now she is casting for NA. And then having, Blizzard producer on, Claudio Gentilini, and just everyone, professional players, managers. It has been an amazing experience. And I want to thank Blizzard, their community management team, for everything they've done, featuring us on the launcher tonight, giving us goodies to give you guys. They have been nothing but supportive, and I think they stand out from even the rest of the Blizzard community management teams and everything that they do to help support their podcasts and content creators. And then lastly, just you guys, the listeners, because again, I know we've hit it on it tonight, this wouldn't be what it is without you. You all have continued to listen. We have listeners from over 100 countries right now, which is mind-blowing. And we get feedback from all over, and again, just me trying to think about that, my mind just is all over the place. So you guys have been amazing. Like I said, the Discord community is just a super safe place. It's a blast. You know, we did the Monday night custom games for a really long time, which were fun. We would love to do them again, but there's other stuff we're wanting to do. You know, so we'll have to see if we have the time on that. But you guys continue to grow. You're always super active, and just thank you guys so much. So, sorry, it took a long time, TBK.
No, you're good.
Oh gosh, I am just so overcome with emotions.
You sound
that
it.
I
am overcome with emotion.
No, but seriously, this has just been such a fun thing for me. This has been something I've looked forward to every Wednesday night. I absolutely hate missing an episode. This type of game is so much fun to podcast about because it's continuously changing, continuously getting updates, continuously getting better. And so not only do I get to talk about that, I actually get to experience it just in a fun way to play. I wrote, and I know this is terrible. I wrote a twit longer.
You're that guy.
I know. I was that guy. It's pinned to the top of my Twitter, and it was my little mushy 2-year thing. And so
That's true, because we've been at this 2 years. I don't think we've mentioned
we've
that.
been.
But
I know we've been at this 2 years
as of this month.
The end of this month.
This month. Yeah, 2 years. So 2 years of Heroes content creation, and we've been around much longer than the 2 years of our content creation. Most of us got back in early tech alpha. So it's been really cool to see this game evolve as much as it has. And not only that, it's been cool to see the Blizzard side, the community team, evolve as much as it has. Because I would go and say extra that the Heroes team is for sure the best community team out of Blizzard. Those guys do an absolutely amazing job, and highlighting not just the podcast but streamers and events. Like, it's just so cool to see the community come around. I mean, the Heroes community may not be the biggest community, but it is most assuredly one of the tightest knit communities that I've ever been a part of. I mean, I'm going to talk about it here shortly, but we're doing a Heroes Charity Brawl with several other podcasts. It is over 3 weeks away, and we've already had $700 contributed.
Yep.
By Heroes community members. That's just mind-blowing. It's just so cool. It's an extremely amazing community, and there's so many grassroots events. There's so much there's so many people helping each other out. We've got the Discord. I mean, that's really cool. So I'm just really happy to be a part of it. I'm really happy to be able to play this because I love this game. I was kind of a League of Legends refugee for a while. I played that game for several years, and the toxicity got to me, and it just became not fun anymore. So when this came along, this fixed basically every issue I had. It's a team game now instead of individual. It's shared XP. There's no items. There's these talents, and it's Blizzard characters that I'm getting to play, and they feel like Blizzard characters. And I recognize these guys, and it's super fun. The games are way shorter, and I just started having a blast. And I don't know, I've just grown to love this game more as it's gone on. It's just gotten better and better. And like you said, Greg, I want to shout out all the guests. It's always a ton of fun having the guests on so that we can it's not just us. We get other opinions from around the community, and sometimes even Blizzard themselves coming in and talking about all the cool stuff they're going to be doing. So big shout out to the community. Big shout out to Blizzard for making this 100 episodes. Big shout out to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just cause for making all this stuff possible. It's been a blast.
Yeah. And just you talking about the community team more, I know. So there's been, and there continues to be, several things that happen that are just kind of, eye openers on the fact that we are actually we're not just here talking into a mic. We, are having an impact on people, whether it, be people who are, are legally blind and helping them learn the game and get the news on the game and playing. To, I know TBK told us when he was at BlizzCon, I don't remember who you said it was, but somebody on the Heroes team walked up and, was like, hey, like, we love the episode. Like, we listened to what you guys say. You guys make good points, and like, we take everything into consideration. And that was like a holy crap.
Yeah. Right. They were like, we've taken some of your feedback and implemented it into the game. And we're like, what? I'm just a dude sitting at home in front of a computer, but all right, thanks.
Yeah, and it's
they listen. Like, that's just one thing that sometimes people don't understand. But your posts on Reddit, your posts on the official forums, all the Blizzard podcasts, the video creation, Blizzard watches and reads pretty much all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very much aware of it, and they're taking all this feedback in. So never feel bad about posting feedback or posting criticism in a constructive way, because they're very active and they want to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And,
sure.
I hope that we do a good job of not just conveying our opinions on certain topics, but we try, we're active within the community, seeing what's happening on Twitter, and we hope that you all think we are a good representation for your voice about the game as well. That's really important to us, because
and if not, give us feedback on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throw in and say, hey, I actually heard that the Tassadar build is amazing, and then we can, I don't know, revisit it and that sort of thing. So yeah. I don't know. I just wanted to say really quickly here as well, too, that, we've been talking about how great the, community team over at Blizzard is, for sure. But I want to talk about just the Heroes team in general over at Blizzard, because, frankly, a lot of the work and just stuff and juice behind this show is the content they're putting out. I mean, and this game is possibly better in that regard than at least any of the other Blizzard games, possibly better than a lot of just video games out there in general, because, we don't have the year and a half of Siege of Orgrimmar like WoW did. We don't have these semi-long droughts between major, at least discussion-worthy content updates to Overwatch, even though that game's kind of the new hotness in so many ways still. Hearthstone goes lengths of time in between really new content, although their community team is speaking up a lot more lately. But Heroes has always been outspoken, and they just always crank out new stuff. Like, I mean, we're going to talk about Valeera at the end of the day here, but I mean, we know that the next hero is going to be coming out soon. We're going to be seeing the teasers. We're going to be going nuts about that. And then we don't know always, but they'll just drop stuff on us, like sandbox mode, just out of nowhere. It's like, oh, yeah, we thought
thanks,
that was
Blizz.
a cool idea. So here it is. It's in. And so we all react to that, and we're just like, okay, cool, awesome. So, I mean, that's going beyond even just the community team to just the team in general, and their production schedule they keep up, as well as the just quality of work that they do in terms of art, in terms of feel. Frankly, the parts I like about this show the most to go over, are we into that part yet, where we're talking about just favorite moments?
Oh, yeah.
Or is that
Go
next?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What I like most about talking about this game in general, I mean, I enjoy it when we get into the weeds with the esports, talking about the teams, the matchups, what's coming up, patch notes, of course. It's always good to keep up to date on and everything. But what I really like the most are the moments when we're just fully nerding out about, for instance, like the Ragnaros announcement, when we're all just like, we've been waiting for this forever. We knew he was coming. He's here.
Yes.
It's everything we wanted it to be. It makes me feel like I'm the boss in Molten Core when I'm channeled onto one of the forts or keeps, and he's one of my favorite characters in the game, for sure. And like when we had Tim from Heroes of Fitness on, and he and I just had that just little nerd out session about how much we still love Arthas, no matter where he is in the meta. Those are the kind of conversations that I've loved the most throughout all of this, and I don't know, I that is the stuff. The fact that Blizzard has caused me to love these games and these characters as much as I do over not just the course of this show, but I mean, some of these characters I've known for many, many years now, going back into the old World of Warcraft days and before, even StarCraft for me. So for that to all just congeal into one thing that is, as they've described it, BlizzCon the game, just makes it all the more special for sure.
Oh, I need to go off of that for my favorite moment.
Please do.
Because this leading up to everything, all the podcasting stuff we've done, I think kind of culminated for me when I went to my first BlizzCon last year.
Fair point.
I think that was really the moment when I was just like, holy crap, it's real. Not that the game wasn't real, but the people, all these people that I've met online, all these Blizzard people that I've fanboyed over at some point, or that I've talked to or gotten to interact with, and there they are, and I get to talk to them and interact with them and say, I love your game, or this is what I don't love about the game, and these are my suggestions, and just how nice everybody was, not just the Blizzard staff there, but just all the people in general. Being at the Heroes HGC finals, oh my gosh, the hype
Yes.
that was in that room was like, I watched it online the last BlizzCon, and it's really cool, but it doesn't compare to being there.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Like in any way. It's absolutely insane. So that to me really was a culmination of, I'm so glad I'm doing this, because I get moments like this, and now I'm hooked and I have to go to BlizzCon every year.
That was and I knew I was so excited for you guys to finally be able to go. And this, I'll piggyback off that, and this will kind of be the last thing I say about this stuff, just because I know we got more stuff to talk about. But I've been a gamer pretty much all my life. Just casual gaming, and then I got into World of Warcraft. Been playing that. Started to kind of die out in Cataclysm, and I almost stopped playing, and then that's where I listened to my first podcast ever, which was Convert to Raid, and that kind of got me listening, got me interested more into the game, even though I wasn't really playing it that much. Then I hopped over to the Convert to Raid community and started playing a ton, and then shortly after that was BlizzCon 2014, and just on a whim, I bought a ticket, and I went. And I didn't know anyone else that was going except for my guild mates, and then meeting them for all for the first time, and just fell in love with the Blizzard community. And, of course, Heroes was, I believe that was the year Heroes was announced. This version of Heroes, not Blizzard All-Stars, things like that.
Right.
And
Blizzard Dota.
Yeah, and that's kind of what led up to all of this for me. And I've thanked, groups individually, but this gets a little personal, but I was involved in so much growing up, whether it be from sports, extracurricular activities, gaming, that I never really had time to figure out what it was that I actually wanted to do. When I grew up and going through college and stuff, I didn't really know what it was I wanted to do still. And it wasn't until we started podcasting and the effects I've seen, helping build this community, just Heroes in general. I didn't think I could be this passionate about a game. It's just a game. What can that do? It literally has changed my life and helped me realize what path it is that I want to pursue, which is in the gaming industry. Whether that be through podcasting, some sort of community role, anything. And it's going to be a long road to get there, just because it's taken me this long to find out. But it is, it's because of Multi and TBK. It's because of the Blizzard team. It's because of the listeners and all of their feedback that I have realized this. And that has been a huge weight that's been lifted off my chest as I'm, getting older here and into the adult life. So thank everyone, all of you, so much for in a way, helping kind of make one of my, I guess, dreams come true. So that's all I'll say about that. That's all I'll say about that. And if you guys have any last thoughts before we get out of this mushy stuff,
we need
into the hero stuff.
to switch quick. Gizmo's about to lose it. Multi.
Let's talk about the girl that cuts people. What was her name again? Valera?
Oh, Valera.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to her eventually, but we got some stuff first.
Let's talk Heroes content.
Sounds good.
I'm
Okay.
excited. But Greg, I think there might be something we need to do real quick first.
There is. Sorry, I had to collect myself. I don't even know if what I said just made sense. I hope it did. But speaking of all of you guys and being amazing and supporting the show, we do have a couple more patron supporters that we would like to give a shout out here. And not only just a shout out, but they have earned this very honorary title. You have been deemed worthy of bearing the Zord title. Welcome to the Zord Lords. Welcome, Black Axe Zord and, Maro Zord, to the Zord Lords. Thank you so much for helping support the show here. And I promise you, we're doing everything we can here to bring you guys, making the show the best it can be. And maybe we'll see some changes in format, adding some stuff throughout this year, but we really appreciate that support, and it's because of you guys that we can continue to do this. So now let's get into what all happened in the tournament scene, what's coming up in the tournament scene, the HGC scene. I can't even just talk tonight, and it's not even. We haven't even gone late yet.
I'll give you a break.
We haven't even gone
it's
late
hard
yet.
to say HGC scene.
Yeah,
it's
that's
also
true.
a little hard to say Black Axe Zord because you really have to kind of really say all of those syllables, or else it just kind of blends together. So I feel you, man. It's not your fault. Not your fault.
All right, TBK, take it away.
I'll give you a break. So guys, I mentioned it earlier. This is huge. I'm super excited for this. We announced this last week. The Heroes Charity Brawl is coming February 25th. And this is going to be a big collaboration of several Heroes podcasts. It's going to be three of us. It's going to be DJ Tyrant from the Heroes Power Hour, Rillen Dune from Hotscast, Kyle and Garrett from Into the Nexus, and then, of course, Scott, John, and Bo from Core. And we're going to get together February 25th, 2 Pacific, and we're going to just be crazy. We're going to play a ton of Heroes games, ton of really crazy fun Heroes games. Last year, we did a reverse draft where you draft for the other team. We did something called Battle for the Bullion, where we played on Blackheart's Bay, but you weren't allowed to turn in coins, and you had to collect 100 of them. So when people died, it was just raining money. It was beautiful.
That GIF that was on, I think it's Rosterpocalypse? No.
Yeah, Rosterpocalypse has a GIF.
The Vala, that reminds me of it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's really cool. So we're going to be going for 4 hours. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have a little podcast roundtable. We're going to do a bunch of the show games. It's going to be a super fun time. We're raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And as I said before, it's still 3.5 weeks out, and the Heroes community has already donated $700. That is just so cool. I'm super excited to do it. It's going to be a ton of fun, so I hope you guys tune in for that. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
I just keep saying I'm so excited about this.
It's gonna be fun.
This is one of the highlights of the year, and because
We're
making this an annual thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's for the kids. So that'll be a lot of fun. Also, Heroes of the Dorm. If you are in college, signups have begun. Registration opened on January 25th and will run through February 11th. heroesofthedorm.com to go and register. The 15th of February through the 8th, there will be group stages and playoffs, bracket play for the top 64, March 18th through the 26th. And of course, you'll be able to watch on Facebook Live, which we'll actually talk about a little later because we had a question submitted about that. And then You'll be able to do like the fantasy bracket challenge and even win prizes if you do really well in that. So that's cool. And then on April 8th, the Heroic 4 will be live somewhere. We don't know where yet. But hopefully they'll announce it soon. And it'll also be streaming on Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
So really cool. It's amazing every year. There's a lot of fun heroes competitions. It's really fun to play the fantasy draft for it. So definitely check that out. Okay.
Start up again.
Oh, I know. It's going to be good stuff. And
I'm going to actually try on my bracket this year. I really am. I'm going to break it down.
Good.
Mhm.
What's really cool is that HGC, I believe, is taking buys while
For those weeks.
while the dorm stuff's on. I'd have
Makes
to double
sense.
check that. But there's a 3-week buy in the schedule, and I believe it lines up. So you won't have to worry about, oh no, HGC is on. I can't watch dorm. They planned ahead. It's like they have a lot of smart people over there making schedules. Finally, and speaking of HGC Week 2 just wrapped up this past weekend, and boy, did we have some absolutely insane games. We had a Cho'Gall. Game. It did not go very well for Superstars.
Or Gilly
But
and
dang
Dread.
it. Oh my gosh.
broke them.
There was lots of breaking, and I think they drafted it simply to break the casters. At
Yeah.
least I like to think about it like that. So we won't spend a ton of time on this because I've got a little community content shout out later that will help you
Mhm.
if you need to catch up on this. But for us, we'll kind of give you our best moments. I missed a lot of the EU games, sadly, because they're in the morning. But the biggest thing, I think, was the Naventic match, at least for me. So Naventic has not come out the strongest so far. And so they played No Tomorrow on Saturday. And No Tomorrow got a quick 2-0 on them. And I was just like, because this is Naventic.
Yeah.
Like, they've always been in the upper echelon, and they just haven't been doing that well so far. And I was like, where's Naventic? And then they put Zuna on a non-tank in game 3, and something clicked because they just did a complete 180 and absolutely crushed the next 3 games and got a reverse sweep on No Tomorrow. And I talked a lot about Glaurung's Medivh, because he's been playing an absolutely bonkers Medivh. In fact, most of the Medivhs we've seen in HGC have been absolutely bonkers. If you want to learn how to play Medivh, watch those replays. Holy crap. Like, it is such a pleasure to see pro Medivh play, because it is so well coordinated, and you can just pull off some absolutely silly stuff that you never should be able to do.
Yeah, it's awesome to watch, but almost frustrating at the same time because
When they all get out at the perfect.
Yeah.
it's like the other team can just have a beautiful engage and great synergy, and then all of a sudden, nope, we're gone. See ya. It's like, oh man, that is rough.
Yeah, and so Zuna played an absolutely incredible Medivh on the game that they threw him on. That he's super versatile player, and so I was really impressed by them. Team 8 has been super impressive. I really hope they get picked up. They've got some tough stuff coming up this weekend, because they're going to be playing Gale Force and Tempo Storm, which those are kind of the 2 to beat besides Team 8 right now. So I'm very, very excited. We saw what was the other big one? Team Freedom.
Yeah, I
was
want to
the
talk
other
about
really big one.
Gale
They
Force and
beat-
Team Freedom.
Team Freedom beat Tempo Storm.
And
3-2.
Gale Force,
No,
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 if I'm not mistaken.
they did not
No?
beat Tempo Storm.
No.
They beat Gale Force Esports.
they beat Gale Force.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, they beat Gale.
I know that because that actually, I was going to say, last week I tried to watch as much as I could to just get a feel for like the new format of
Yes.
HGC and all this. But this week, actually, the only one I caught so far anyway is that Gale Force and Team Freedom game. And, it's kind of cool. It was relaxing in a way that I could just pull up the VOD, see the game I want, see the exact teams I want, see the games unfold, and then just bail if I need to. So that's nice in a way. That's one of the advantages to this new format and having all the VODs right there on the HGC site and everything. So props there. I think now that my week's slowing down, I might be able to catch a few of the ones I missed. But this Gale Force and Team Freedom game, man, you guys know I'm a Gale Force fan. And when Team Freedom won, like they were close enough. Like it wasn't either side really blowing out either side pretty much throughout the whole series. And in a way, like, although I was rooting for Gale Force, of course, I was pleased to see Team Freedom take the win, only because, when we started this whole lineup, the fear was that Tempo Storm and Gale Force would be so strong and so dominant that the rest of the teams, maybe Naventic might slip in there, but the fear was that some of these other lesser-known teams were just going to get stomped on every series, and that's, I think, across the board just not the case. But in this set, to see Team Freedom come out with a win was refreshing in a way. I just think we're going to have a nice set of teams moving forward here.
Yeah, and it's
was-
really interesting. I wasn't able to catch much of this week just because I was out of town down in Orlando. But it's, again, just Team Naventic struggling right now. B-Step, who has 3 world champions from 2015 at BlizzCon. And I think this is, we're starting to see the effects of teams, sticking together. Because during
Yeah.
those times, those are the teams, Team Naventic, B-Step, were the teams that stayed together the longest, as, Cloud9, Naventic, which was formerly Tempo Storm. Yes. And they were dominant for that. But now, you're seeing these other teams who are synergizing well, have been playing together and practicing and being forced to stick together, are finally showing that they may have a higher, skill ceiling here and more potential. So overall, just the entire HGC format's awesome, and I'm super pumped for it every weekend. And I hope that both Naventic and B-Step kind of figure some stuff out, because I really enjoy watching those teams. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see.
Well, I think, too, playing off what you just said, now that the rosters are kind of locked in and these teams are going to stick together and play more, we've talked about this a lot on this show, but I think that skill ceiling you were talking about is going to raise for all these folks. And I mean, I'm hoping it raises to a level where we can take down some Korean folks down the road there. Go NA.
Agreed.
We'll see.
I know, we'll see. I hope.
Well,
I can be hopeful.
It's interesting. It's interesting you say that though, because I was just double checking, because I was just like I thought the game was close for the Tempo Storm one, and the Tempo Storm one actually with Team Freedom went 3-2, so Team Freedom actually almost beat Tempo Storm, and then they did beat Gale Force. But
You got it there.
the amount of improvement, especially from Team Freedom, from the first week to the second week, was incredible.
Mhm.
And I think that doing these weekly things and having them battle each other constantly, and then not only that, with the EU and the Koreans and the Chinese, they'll have all the VODs professionally done, because all these leagues are very structured, and there's going to be VODs and there's going to be casting and whatnot. This will actually, I think, help teams prepare better in the future when going up, cross region
Sure.
against others, because that type of prep was either non-existent before or extremely hard to get. And so now in this league format, there's going to be several months worth of data that you can look up and you can prepare for on a team by team basis. You can actually form strategies on a team by team basis. And hopefully, like you guys were alluding to, the overall skill of all these top teams will raise just because of this.
Yeah. And then it's also, you talking about the preparation, just nice that these teams know who they're going to play for like the entire first half of this season here. They can plan each week, so there's actually a little bit more strategy involved into it. So that's creating the better competition just even within the specific regions, which is nice.
Yeah, totally agree. So just to end it off, so if you're wanting to watch this weekend, NA NA has definitely been the most entertaining to watch. I will completely agree with that sentiment that's going around a lot. EU is pretty cool, but NA has been so off the wall sometimes that it's just kind of fun, just kind of enjoyable to see what crazy stuff they do next. Friday, February 3rd at 4 Central. No Tomorrow will face B-Step. And then at 6:30 Central, Superstars will face off against Gale Force. That should be a pretty good game. And then Saturday at 4 Central, Team Freedom versus Team Naventic. That will be another game to watch, I think, just because of how much Naventic has been struggling and how good Freedom has been doing, especially against the two big boys. And then at 6:30 Central on Saturday, Team 8 gets its first, what some might say, real challenge in Tempo Storm, fighting the big boys, and then coming up the next day at 4 Central right away versus Gale Force. So Team 8's got a hard one this weekend. Yeah. Like this is a hard matchups for sure. This will really show, I think, where Team 8 is at in kind of the pecking order right now. And then B-Step versus Team Freedom to finish off Sunday at 6:30 Central. So
if I was
a lot
Team 8,
of good matchups.
If I was Team 8, I would have so much trouble sleeping between Saturday and Sunday, knowing that like my game just ended with Tempo Storm and the first game up the next day is going to be against Gale Force. Not to say that I mean, they've done some good stuff in the past. I'd be interested to see what they're capable of. But me personally, those types of nerves get to me. I would get no sleep that night.
Yeah, that, and then if they lose Saturday, that's going to make their Sunday game against Gale Force even all the more harder, just because it's going to be coming off their first loss, set loss. They have lost one game out of all their sets so far. All right. Well, real quickly here, we're going to hop into a quick balance patch that came out this week. First and foremost, and most importantly, it is easy to please the rooster.
Super easy to please the rooster.
You can do it by yourself now. And, have they made it too easy? I would say no, just because I don't think it's something that needs to be hard. I think it's something that if you want that rooster, you should be able to get. So it's easier to get in there, do it. The changes they make, they increase the race duration by 3 seconds. So, have a movement speed while carrying the items. You can no longer turn in a wrong item. You'll continue to hold it. So it's so much easier. And you can also, it's guaranteed to pop if there has been a player who has not yet completed it. So you'll pretty much have it in almost every game. So it's going to be much easier to get those, I believe, 25 games or completions that you need to unlock the rooster, which is nice.
Yeah. Because it's a sweet mount.
Yes.
It's an incredible mount. The animation, the art, the clucking. It's
the clucking.
It's pretty ridiculous. Oh,
it's clucking amazing.
Yes.
Thank you, Multi.
Anytime.
All right. So what are the big changes? Is there anything just mind-blowing in here that you guys want to cover real quick, since we are...
The Rag nerf. And this is something that everyone kind of figured was coming. And it's nice because it wasn't super heavy-handed. A little bit of health regen, a little bit less bonus damage from your Sulfurous Hunger's quest completion, little less healing from Cauterized Wounds at 13. I like it. It took them down a little bit, but they didn't just completely gut him, which is good, because I really, really like Ragnaros, and I think he's in a halfway decent spot. So that's good. Zagara, buff-ish. Little extra movement speed on creep tumors.
By the way,
tumor cooldown reduction.
It's still just super weird not seeing Zagara in competitive, because it was there for so long. Another big one, the Earthquake. has gotten a nerf. I haven't.
Oh yes.
I don't know if this is enough. I haven't really experienced it since the change, but the cooldown has been decreased from 80 to 70, but the slow amount from 70 to 50%.
No, that's Sundering.
Oh, that's Sundering. Yes.
Sundering cooldown got reduced, which is good.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Right.
But it's just the slow from 70 to 50%. So we'll see.
I like that. This allows you to actually get out of it, kind of. Because it's a big radius.
Yeah. And I like that. And maybe this did wreck it. Again, I haven't experienced it, but it doesn't seem like it would for me. But at the same time, it didn't just destroy it to where now Sundering would be the automatic pick now.
Well, you still get the extra sustain from your Frostwolf stacks and all that. So, I mean, I haven't gotten to feel it around either, but I don't know. I also wouldn't have foreseen a world in which they would try to tune Earthquake down to allow us to Sunder again after how long we've been Sundering on that character. But, yeah.
A lot of people don't think that it's going to be enough for Sundering because the stun amount hasn't been raised and it's just so short. I think both of them could be situational a little more now, especially if you need to split the team. You're on a little bit of a shorter cooldown than you used to be, and you still do have a stun, so there is an interrupt component to it. But we'll have to see. I think we get, not this week, but next week, HGC goes to live patch. Because HGC has been playing on the older patch.
Yeah.
And so once we switch over, that's going to be really interesting, not just for things like Reg and Thrall, Earthquake and stuff, but for Tassadar especially as well. For Zagara, maybe. I don't know if the little buffs will help. Artanis got a little bit of a nerf. Uther got 10 armor.
Yeah.
Just 10 armor. He's now 10% less vulnerable to
Well,
attacks.
he's wearing plate, so
It makes a
okay.
lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Let's see. I guess the other bit, Zarya got a little bit of a nerf. Stitches got a little bit of a health buff. And the other big thing that really stood out to me, and I've started seeing a lot more of since the balance patch, is Sonya.
Yes.
Sonya got a huge buff to her whirlwind
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and the healing it does.
Yes. Triple versus heroes now. Which was it triple before or double?
I don't remember. It's been so long since I played
Yeah, I know
Sonya
it was increased.
that I'd have to go look. But
It's also
extra
going
damage.
from 20 to 25% of damage done is now transmitted into healing too. So that's an increase too, just by itself. So
Yeah. Extra damage, extra healing, and then life funnel at 13 is 5% more healing increase than it used to be. So I've started seeing a lot more Sonya's. The spin to win build has started to get pretty popular, and she has a lot of sustain now. It'll be interesting to see if that's enough for us to start seeing her in competitive play when they move over to live patch.
she's pretty good against Valera, right? In that she can, just like you get stunned and everything, but whatever, you just pop out and start spinning around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, she
Yeah.
most certainly can be. And especially if you can land Ancient Spear on her. Because
Well,
you can
she's
see the
stealth,
shimmer.
yeah.
Because once you knock Valera out of stealth, she becomes much less useful
And
if she loses her opener. So
I would imagine that at this state, that we'll probably see her, just because of the double warrior comps that's going on right now, which may, if she gets out of hand here, lead back to, unless she's just one of the permabans, going back into more of a stun meta, which I have a blast with right now, pairing up with Valera and some other stuns, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, there's
Right.
been several heroes changes in there. Make sure and check them out for, just so you know what's going on in the game. But let's go ahead and get on into our hero of the week this week.
Hero of the Week.
All right, so yes, it is the newest hero, the melee assassin, the rogue from World of Warcraft, Valera, and I'm having a blast with her right now. I know I haven't checked her win rate lately. Is it still below 50? I imagine.
I'll double check. Keep
Okay.
talking.
So we mentioned last week we really like her kit. It feels a lot like a rogue in World of Warcraft, and how Blizzard is getting a lot better just with their talent diversity, which kind of makes it hard on us considering we used to do these more of hey, let's give you a general build to go through that kind of is a good starting place. And what we can still do that. There are more variations, so we'll go through those. Real quickly here, her trait is going to be Vanish, and this is on an 8-second cooldown. It's an activatable stealth, which will make her vanish from sight and increase movement speed by 10%. This also gives her a separate set of abilities. So her unstealth abilities are Sinister Strike on Q, which you dash forward, hitting all enemies in a line. If you hit a hero, it reduces the cooldown to 1 second and awards 1 combo point. Ambush on Q. You ambush the target instantly. Nope, that's her cloaked one. Let's do Blade Fury. That's her uncloaked W, where you'll deal damage to all enemies surrounding you. Nice little AoE. Also awards
Blade
1 combo
Flurry.
point. Blade Flurry. What did I say?
Fury.
Fury.
It's
Blade
close.
Flurry. You know what? It can be furious. And then
You
Eviscerate.
know how Gizmo is with words.
Yeah, words are hard. Eviscerate on E, which will eviscerate an enemy dealing damage per combo point. So the more combo points you have, more damage. And then her stealth abilities, if you have used her combat trait, are going to be Ambush, where now you ambush the target, instantly dealing damage, which also awards 1 combo point. Cheap Shot on W, which will deal damage and stun the enemy for 1.5 seconds, also awarding a combo point. And then Garrote on E, which will garrote the enemy, dealing damage instantly and additional damage over 7 seconds, as well as silencing them for 2 seconds. And that will award a combo point. So very roguish in her abilities there. And then her heroics, we have Smoke Bomb, where you create a cloud of smoke. While in the smoke, Valeera is unrevealable, can pass through other units, gains 25 armor, reducing damage taken by 25%, and continue to attack and use abilities without being revealed. Last 5 seconds. And then Cloak of Shadows, Valeera is enveloped in a Cloak of Shadows, which immediately removes all damage over time effects from her. For 1 second, she becomes unstoppable and gains 75 spell armor, reducing ability damage taken by 75%. So, a lot going on there. But, yeah, like I said, I think last week there's going to be several ways to play her. She has a nice kit for depending on what comp you're going against. But this comp here, I have played. I know TBK and I have probably a few differing opinions on some talents here. But
What? We have
What?
differing opinions on
no
something?
way.
No.
Never. It's never happened.
But it's going to be a good starting place, I think. And from there, get comfortable, and then you can kind of branch out depending on what you are going up against, which can be difficult in quick match right now with all the different craziness you can
All
come
the
up against.
Tassadars?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little rough.
we hope this will
one-
help here. Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to mention too, that we missed on Vanish, is that for the first second of Vanish, you're not revealable at all, no matter what happens.
And
And
you
for the
take no
first
damage.
second of Vanish, you can pass through other units. So
And you
this
take no
is-
damage, right?
No, you take damage. You just
Oh.
can't be revealed.
You just don't break the reveal. Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
you just can't. You can't break the stealth for the first second. But which is great. But the big part is the passing through other units, and there's a lot of strategy you can use in that while you're being chased down, or while you're chasing down someone, or while someone's trying to body block you. Even that it's easy to forget that you can do that. So make sure to keep that in mind.
I forget it all the time. Yeah, I could totally see like someone's just a butcher's chasing you down, and you're in a bush, and you just barely step outside, and then vanish, and then just walk through the butcher, get in that bush, and then you've juked him. You've gone back to where you were coming from, and perhaps he doesn't even see where the shimmer is going. And yeah, you can get deep with that stuff. It's pretty cool.
Deep in the bush. Okay.
Yes.
Let's get into the build here.
Let's move away from
Let's
that.
move away. So for level 1 here, we have 2 options to check out. We have Vigor and Subtlety. Vigor is going to you're going to regenerate 2 additional energy per second. After gathering 20 regen globes, you'll increase her max energy to 120. And then on subtlety, after remaining vanished for at least 4 seconds, using ambush, cheap shot, or garrote causes Valeera to regenerate an additional 10 energy per second for 5 seconds. So on this one, I think TBK, you lean a little bit more towards Vigor, correct?
I do.
Yeah, and I have leaned a little towards subtlety. And honestly, after playing an amount of Valeera, I really don't notice much of a difference between these, just because I don't seem to have a ton of energy issues. But
Right.
I will submit to, if you're on a map where gathering regen globes is easy, Vigor is nice. It also allows you to better be able to kind of initiate out of stealth, if that's kind of the situations that you're in, then go back into the stealth because you don't have to wait that 4 seconds. But again, I haven't really had issues using subtlety, and I'm more of I haven't initiated much with her out of stealth. It's always kind of been me waiting for my opportunity. So,
And that's
Vigor.
kind of how you should, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
Vigor is. I feel like Vigor is more consistent because not only do you have that permanent extra energy regen, and then you get the big extra energy regen or big extra energy chunk once you get those 20 globes, but it takes away a little bit of a weakness of subtlety that can happen anytime really, but especially late game if you take another talent at 20, because it's super nice in team fights being able to engage from stealth, which you would have gotten their benefit from subtlety if you did that, and then team fight, and then back out a little bit, vanish, come back in, and then right away you still have the effects of Vigor. You don't have to wait 4 seconds for that extra energy to build up that you might need while you're re-engaging. Because sometimes I've been fighting somebody, or maybe someone took me out of stealth and I start fighting them. I can go straight into stealth and then use one of my abilities right away and know that I didn't just give up energy regen because I had to use one of my abilities straight from stealth.
yeah. And
So I just feel like it's a little more consistent.
yeah. And it is very easy to be taken out of stealth. There are a lot of things flying around at the moment, so that's kind of another weakness of subtlety there.
Fair point. I do want to shout out really quickly to Combat Readiness, the one that gives you essentially the block sort of feature, or rather physical armor in this case. Each combo point spent grants 50 physical armor against the next, using its damage by 50%, stores up to 3 charges. Just in that, I mean, it's obviously a lot more situational than either of the two you guys have been going over, but you know, on characters that are squishier, like think about how a good block can be on Murky, for instance. I mean, reducing a serious amount of the incoming damage if you're laning against Vala or Raynor or something like that, and you have more opportunities to get something out of it, you could surprise them with winning a lot of trades that you might not have otherwise if you didn't take it. So I've tried it out a couple times. I don't hate it. You don't always feel it either, and certainly sometimes I'll try that to counter one character, and there's a Jaina in there, so it doesn't really matter against her anyway. But you know, just at least worth mentioning. It's there, and it's not terrible either.
Yeah. All right, TBK. How about for level 4?
So for level 4, it's such a toss-up. Relentless Strikes, I really like. It reduces the energy cost of Sinister Strike by 10, and this is a really huge deal because when you hit somebody with Sinister Strike, you reduce its cooldown to 1 second. So if you're using it in sort of like a I'm chasing somebody format, having it be less energy because it's going to be up extremely quickly is a huge deal. One other one you could go is Initiative. This is your ambush, cheap shot, and Groat award 1 combat point extra. So you can use it, and then you have 2 combat points automatically straight coming out of stealth, which is great for just getting in one more hit and then doing a full combo point eviscerate follow up. So both those are really good situationally. And then sometimes if you're up, say, against a medic or an Ariel, wound poison can actually be quite strong. You activate it to cause Valyr's next instance of spell damage or one of your abilities to reduce the healing received by the victim by 50% for 4 seconds. Activating it doesn't break Vanish either, which is really cool. This is a Mortal Strike at level 4.
Yeah.
That cannot be underestimated.
Yeah.
Depending on the healer you're up against. Because early game Morales, especially if you get up against a Morales without a dive comp, can be horribly, horribly annoying to fight against. So Morales is healing somebody, you use this, hit them, all of a sudden that heal beam isn't really doing a whole lot.
Right.
And so you can
And
take
she's
him
trying.
down.
She probably
trying.
didn't even notice that it happened. So
Nope.
that beam's on her, and it's just
It's not her.
doing what
It's not her
supposed to.
fault. It's not her fault. It's just the fault of the person who picked her.
Yep.
But yeah, so it's there's a lot of good things on this tier.
That there is. Multi, how about level 7?
Oh, level 7, we've got a couple options there for you. We're going with either Slice and Dice, where when you eviscerate an enemy with 3 combo points, it causes your next 3 basic attacks to have their attack speed increased by 150%, and that lasts 3 seconds where you're capable of doing that. And then the other one is Fatal Finesse, and I like this one a lot. It's a quest talent. Each time Blade Flurry damages a nearby enemy hero, its damage increases by 3 up to 60, and then the reward for completing that is, after damaging 20 heroes with Blade Flurry, permanently reduce its energy cost by 20%, or not 20%, it's by 20. So, of these two, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with Slice and Dice, only because, I mean, I like getting in the extra attack speed hits, but she's got a pretty quick attack speed anyway. And granted, obviously, it is noticeable when you use this. I have found her to be a bit more of an ability-based character. I don't know if you guys agree with me on this one. Not to the extent that like Ragnaros or some of these others are. I mean, you can get a lot of auto attack damage in, make no mistake. But it seems like the big chunks of damage are coming out of even just things like the Sinister Strike, Blade Flurry, and Eviscerate outside of stealth, but certainly Garrote while inside, you know, that sort of thing as well. So, like, I don't know. It's naturally, if you're going for damage and you're up against people who haven't really taken a bunch of talents to block out your auto attack damage, it's never bad. I mean, you're a damage character, lets you do more damage. But then so does Fatal Finesse, you know, and the other advantage to the extra Blade Flurry damage just in general is wave clear, is jungling out there in the field, which, by the way, if you haven't tried jungling solo with her yet, it's not that great. She kind of takes some damage there, doesn't really heal through much of it. So, and that, like, I don't know, even with Blade Flurry, I don't know if I would really jungle a ton with her per se, but you'd help out clearing camps for other people or defending against oncoming waves and that sort of thing. So I've grown to love and really not stray from Fatal Finesse, but I mean, I see the value in Slice and Dice. What do you guys think about this, though?
Again, these are all going to be comp situational, but I really like, if I was just choosing between the two, comp regardless, I really like Fatal Finesse for the fact I don't think it's a very hard talent to finish, and it really turns the damage into kind of like equal with Sinister Strike once you complete it, which is just nice. Of course, it doesn't have that dash, but it is AoE if you're, you know, in a melee heavy comp, or even if you're not, it's just a little bit of extra burst damage on your combo right there. So I really enjoy that, plus on top of the wave clear and whatnot.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with what you guys said. It's very situational. If I know I'm going to be needing to wave clear, if our team is low on wave clear or something of the sort, or on a big map, Fatal Finesse is fantastic because it does do extra damage and it's extra wave clear and whatnot. If I know I'm going to be super gank, super roam, Slice and Dice is good because it can put out a surprising amount of extra burst damage right after you do your Eviscerate. And the nice thing about that is you're very rarely going to use your Eviscerate if it's not at 3 combo points.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Unless you're using it to know you can finish somebody off with a 2 combo point of damage on the Eviscerate. So,
or maybe you absolutely have to escape then for some reason.
But for the most part, you are always going to be saving Eviscerate for 3 combo points. So you'll almost always get full use out of this talent. And like I said, it can be surprisingly bursty up against somebody who's not prepared for it.
For sure. Level 10 here is just going to be situational. They're 2 extremely unique heroics. I tend to pick Smoke Bomb more often than not, just because it's nice for multiple things: escaping, initiating. And it always seems to be up, which none of these have a long cooldown. It's 60 seconds, whereas Cloak of Shadows is 18. But the Cloak of Shadows, the 1 second, and I know it just doesn't, it seems to be too quick for me. And maybe I just need to take it more to get the timing down, because 75% spell armor is a ton. And so, of course, it's going to be awesome if you're going against, a mage comp. Going to be great against Jaina, Ring of Frost, and Blizzard. But, yeah, so just situational. But I do tend to take Smoke Bomb.
Well, the thing about Cloak of Shadows, too, is that it has that sort of counter feel, as we've seen on Alarak, too, where, I mean, you have to get some value out of it in that second, or else what are you doing? So definitely a lot harder to pull off. TBK used some examples last week talking about maybe this is what you were going to get into, blocking certain abilities, perhaps baiting out, I don't know, an Uther stem would be a basic example, seeing that it's coming, activating it before the ability hits you and that sort of thing. But I don't know. I would lean towards Smoke Bomb if I were a newer Valeera, and it'll be interesting to see what the pros do, but I think even the pros might lean toward it as well, just because it offers so much in terms of escapability and damage reduction and a lot of stuff. So what were you going to say, though, TBK? I'm sorry.
No, Smoke Bomb is extremely powerful. Like, it's on a very short cooldown, unless the team has heavy AoE, where it's just like, I know she's in there. let's throw an empowered flame strike. But no, the Cloak of Shadows is extremely high skill cap. I mean, it's basically a cleanse. It's a self cleanse. And we all know how impactful cleanse can be when a support uses it on another player. This basically allows the support to not have to use a cleanse on you, because it is an extremely short cooldown, all things considered. Examples of when you might use it: it's crap, Stitcher's Hook coming, boom, Cloak of Shadows, hook fails because you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Stuns are another thing. You mentioned Ring of Frost, because that's something you can see coming. APOC. Crap, I see APOC coming. I know I can't get out of it. Boom. 75% of the damage that APOC did is completely negated, and I didn't get stunned. So it's extremely, extremely strong in certain scenarios, or if you feel good enough on your timings to actually activate it in time for some of these things. But it's a reaction speed thing, right? If you don't have the reaction speed for it, it's not going to be a ton of use for you. But if you do have the reaction speed, and I thought this against a Chromie could be extremely strong. You could get out of temporal loop. You could negate basically almost an entire combo worth of damage if you timed it right. But again, it's all about timing. So if you don't trust yourself to do that, you're not going to get a lot of value out of it, and you're going to be much better off going Smoke Bomb.
Yep. You guys convinced me. Okay, I got it. Let's see. For 13 here, TBK, what are we going with?
So level 13. This is one of my favorite tiers, actually, and we're in a meta right now that I will normally go blind. Mm-hmm. And so blind is when Cheap Shot expires, which is your 1.5 second stun. The victim is blinded for 2.5 seconds. So if you pick this and hit an auto attacker, they are literally worthless for 4 seconds, because you have 1.5 seconds of stun, and then you have 2.5 seconds of blind.
Right.
This is absolutely insane and so incredibly powerful against so many heroes. Because you'll almost always have at least one or two good auto attackers that this will render fairly worthless. And 4 seconds in team fight terms is a long freaking time.
Yeah.
Like it's really long. So that's normally my go-to. One of the other things that's kind of interesting is Death from Above. This gives Ambush 5 range and will teleport Valeera behind the victim. So this is really cool if you want, especially with Smoke Bomb, because it'll keep you safer for getting yourself safely to their back line and being able to wreak havoc pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do it in a somewhat safe way.
Here's my question to both you guys, though. Are you really ever ambushing? Because it seems to me like I'm entering almost every fight with either the cheap shot or the garrote if I think that I can get a lot of value out of, silencing them, and I feel like I can stick on them despite them not being stunned. I see this talent and I like the extra range and everything. And yeah, okay, jumping to the back line and all that. But I mean, can't you just stealth and walk up to the back line through a bush?
It depends. It depends on your situation, right?
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you. I think ambush is worthless as an ability right now because it does not do enough damage to compare with either the silence and the damage over time or the stun.
Mm-hmm.
There's almost no situation that I'm going to use pure damage because the stun or the silence is going to be more valuable to me. In fact, Death from Above would be the only reason I would use ambush, because at that point, it's giving me a decent bonus for movement and manipulation of where I'm at and potentially even getting to the back line when I need to. In some ways, I almost feel like Death from Above should be or maybe even a weaker version of it should be baseline on ambush to make it actually useful.
Here's another question too. I feel like they've scaled ambush around having to deal with the level 7 talent Assassinate, which is where ambush deals 200% additional damage if no other enemy heroes are within 5 range of the victim. Cool concept, but to me, I don't know, that kind of limits their design space, because if they tune regular ambush up at all, then, I mean, picture yourself from the perspective of a solo laner Jaina who is just getting globaled by like an Assassinate into Blade Flurry into Eviscerate combo. Like, I don't know. So I'm guessing it's weaker on the whole just because that talent exists and just the ability itself gets hurt by it.
Yeah, and I think, like TBK mentioned, this is a big part of this is from the current meta that we're in, which is there's a lot of auto attacks going on right now. So this is something that, when the meta shifts, could potentially become a viable option, going more of an ambush build. But right now, yes, the stun and then the blinds against the auto attacks are just incredible. And then even, Strangle, which reduces the ability damage dealt by a victim by 25% for 7 seconds, is great when you're going up against some mage casters. So,
right.
All right. For level 16, what are we going with, Multi?
16, we've had a lot of situational talents leading up to this point, but we're going to cut that off now and say that the best one to go with, it seems like, is Expose Armor. And in this one, when you eviscerate an enemy with 3 combo points, it causes them to lose 25 armor for 2 seconds, increasing all damage taken by 25%. So that's to say not just physical armor, but magical as well, increasing the damage that you're doing and the rest of your team. So it's a little extra vulnerability to them. And on a character that's all about getting the burst off, yes, okay, it's a little awkward in that Eviscerate itself is one of the bursts that you want to do, but then, I mean, you're still getting in there, getting abilities off, and I don't know, I like that above all the others. Thistle Tea, for instance, sounds like it might help your hit cycle up a little bit. Maybe I'm just not good enough with her yet to know necessarily how it can 100%. That's where you activate it to instantly restore 100 energy. But again, we were kind of talking about this earlier. She doesn't seem to have a ton of energy problems. Like, I'm more managing combo points over energy itself for the most part. So I don't know. That's That's an awkward one to me. But do you guys agree with my assessment, though, that expose armor is the way to go? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's great in it's just as good in quick match and solo queue as it is in team league, because whenever Valeera's job is to pick a player to pick off, and it's very obvious to your team whenever you stun, get your combo points up, and then eviscerate, your team knows exactly who to attack, and now they have 25% vulnerability.
Well, and the stun set it up as well. So
that's like the flashing light for, okay, this is who I want you to attack. So it's just overall, it's just a really strong ability here. And then 20, we have both Night Slayer and Cold Blood. Night Slayer is going to reduce the cooldown of Vanish by 3 seconds, so it's now a 5-second cooldown, which is nice. But my preferred talent is Cold Blood. You activate this to increase the damage of Valeera's next Eviscerate by 100%. And activating Cold Blood does not break Vanish. And I believe this is like a 45 or 60-second cooldown. But it's
about that burst.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun.
Crazy burst. If you are not having problems after 16, if your team is following your stuns correctly and you're just melting people, then you may go Night Slayer, because that 3-second cooldown is really nice. But if you're still just needing a little bit more to finish off, or you're going against a heavier comp, Cold Blood will do the trick.
Night Slayer helps your damage too, in a sense, in that you can just vanish more often and come back in with more stuns or garrotes and that sort of thing. But Cold Blood is just too fun.
Yeah.
Like, I love the numbers you get out of that.
And Night Slayer works extremely well with Vigor as well, as opposed to Subtlety. Like, I wouldn't go Subtlety if I was planning on going Night Slayer, because that allows you to weave even more so back into stealth during combat, because only 5 seconds on Vanish, that is so quick, and you can sometimes get in several vanishes during a team fight, and every vanish you're able to get into is a potential stun, silence, or if you went with blind at 13, stun and then blind.
Yep,
So
and the
it's
psychological frustration you're causing your enemies with that too. So
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So any last-minute tips for a new Valeera player from you guys, TBK?
Whew. Don't get frustrated by the amount of Tassadars in game right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff right now going on that can reveal her. Positioning for her is super key. Every once in a while, you'll just run into a comp that is just so anti-Valeera, you just cannot do anything about it. Normally, the best thing for her is to engage, just like all stealthies, really, engage after your team engages, because you'll have a lot less chance of getting caught out or noticed first and getting knocked out of stealth. Because if you do get knocked out of stealth, all you have is your dash, pretty much, to get away. And then you've got 8 seconds of, I don't want to say worthlessness, but greatly reduced usefulness.
right.
Because your 3 stealth abilities are two. Your 2 stealth abilities that you're going to use, since you're not really using ambush ever, are so incredibly strong that losing those on the get-go is really a huge hit to her. So you just careful positioning, let your team engage first, sneak around on the squishies, stun high-value targets or silence high-value targets. And if you run into that one Tyrande in quick match whose owl is magnetized to you, whose lunar flares are magnetized to you, who can hit you from freaking halfway across the map while you're stealthed, I'm not bitter. I'm not.
No, not at all.
Props to you, Tyrande. I hate you so much. Whoever was playing that, I give you props, but I hate you.
Just getting sent to Hogwarts.
Oh, It's terrible. It was literally the most frustrating thing ever.
I was the Tyrande magnet forever. So
I remember you talking about that, actually.
yeah,
so,
forever.
Yeah.
So my tip here, and it's kind of just a repeat of what TBK said for a new player, Do not forget that your Q is a pretty darn decent escape if you're needing it. And then just be very selective. Hang out on the outskirts until your opportunity opens up. Because like I said, it's very easy to be taken out of stealth. There's a lot of Valas. There's a lot of Li Mings. You just got to get barely nicked by something. And then you got to kind of sit back and wait for your cooldown to come off. So be very selective. Wait for it. Get in there quick and take care of business. And hopefully, your team's kind of following your stuns as a target. That's all I got, though. Multi?
Yeah. You both kind of touched on this, but some people, when they're really new at a stealthy character in particular, think, because they're stealth, they're just naturally a little bit more sneaky. And that's true. But of course, you've always got the Shimmer, you've always got the Tassadars and all that. So, yeah, you both kind of mentioned this, but approach a fight kind of like you would any other squishy melee assassin, in that, just sneaking out of a bush or getting a good jump on them is just often the key here as well. And then otherwise, just make sure you're able to get out somehow. I mean, I've seen so many Valiras that just go in there for the 1-for-1 trade. Yeah, you kill the Vala and stuff, but you start a group fight that's awkward, and it just, I don't know, it can lead to the rest of your team having this weird false engagement if you're not coordinated, and just lead to the rest of them getting wiped. So what'd you do? You caused like a 2-for-4 trade perhaps between the teams, and you guys are on the back end of that. And to that end, I said this last week, but for some reason, Valeera is one of those characters where if your team's behind a couple levels, you've got to be even more careful, because I have definitely had matches where I felt like I was doing really well. Perhaps the match itself slipped away from me in terms of objectives. Maybe my team's not as coordinated as theirs. And man, I have at times though where there's 1 or 2 characters on the enemy team that have a little AoE, have a little reveal, and I literally just feel like a gnat flying around the outside, just not able to even get in and do anything. And I know that's true for a lot of heroes, but it feels even more so for her. So just know to pick your battles, and especially if you're behind, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we hope this helps you jump into Valeera here if you haven't tried her out yet. And if you don't own her yet, well, maybe you'll win one of the bundles after the show here. But we got a little bit more to get through. TBK, what do you got for community content this week?
So this one is really cool, actually. So I know we've shouted out some of J-House content on here before, but this is really it's really special because there's nothing quite like it. He's started he's going to be doing an ongoing series called Monday Morning Recap, which will be anywhere from 15 to like 30 minutes. And it's done in a very Sports Center-esque way that will be recapping HGC, which is really, really cool. And so he did his first one this past Monday. Extremely high production value. Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. Recaps all the games, gives you all the info you need to know. Dunk Train had a little segment where he broke down one of the team fights and showed how important body blocking and positioning was. There's a little bit about Roster Apocalypse in the Fantasy League and like an MVP team player of the week. So really high quality, really high production value. And he's planning on doing this every Monday. So if you want your HGC fix, you want a cool Sports Center style show, this is going to be the one to do. And I'm super excited to see how that kind of evolves, and if he gets maybe a second person on or something, and it becomes its own little mini show in and of itself. So we'll have a link in the show notes at lordsofthestorm.libsyn.com, and I'll be linking in chat for those who are here live.
For sure. And
super cool.
So we had a lot of questions this week that we're just not going to have time to get to. One, I want to just do a TLDR real quick, just since it was a hot topic last week, from Durg about Heroes of the Dorm being on Facebook. And it was a long email, but the short of it is he thinks that Heroes taking Heroes of the Dorm off of ESPN was a mistake because of the legitimacy it brought to esports. and the fact that, he had some friends from back in high school who played games but weren't big gamers, saw it on ESPN, and now they play Heroes together, which I can see that point of view, but we do not know that it is Blizzard's choice to take this off ESPN. There are articles kind of to both sides on whether it was Blizzard's choice or ESPN's choice. I kind of lean more towards it may be ESPN's, just because based off the fact that, yes, while this was awesome for gamers, it felt really cool to have games on ESPN. Overall, in TV ratings, it did not have fantastic TV ratings. So it may be something ESPN just decided to kind of back away from. But, at the same time, yeah, there's this argument between Facebook and Twitch and whatnot, but we don't really know the details on that. And I'm going to hold off judgment until we see the video quality of what they have on Facebook. So just wanted to talk about that real quick because we just don't know. We don't know.
For sure. That makes a little sense to me because, if Blizzard had the ability to put it on ESPN, it seems like they would want to. I mean, it's just another medium with which to see it. So I don't know. And by the way, ratings regardless, it was cool to see on ESPN.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I still am mad at Colin Cowherd for his assessment of the situation.
It is. All right. But yes, as people are saying, just conjuncture. Nobody knows.
Yeah, no one knows. It's an interesting experiment, right?
Is.
I think we'll see. They'll see how it goes and test the waters. I mean, looking at Facebook is potentially a massive, massive, massive audience. Is it a massive audience of gamers? That's kind of up in the air. I think a lot of this is really going to be, from the Facebook side, will the production and stream value and quality be good enough for people to be able to enjoy and watching it without skips and frame rate and buffering and stuff that I've experienced in a lot of the current Facebook live streaming stuff? And how will they advertise and then pointedly make sure that advertisement is getting seen by the people who would actually be interested in watching?
For sure.
Right.
But we'll get to the other questions next week here. Make sure you guys stick around after the show here for some giveaways, and we'll do an after show game. But Multi, real quick, where can we be reached?
We can be reached in-game by typing /join LOTS, or you can join our Discord, which we've talked about a lot this episode, but it's sticky to the top of our Twitter, which is @Lords of the Storm. We're also on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can send us emails with feedback or questions to lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. And if you want to help us out, there's a couple ways to do it. You could leave a positive review. We really appreciate these. 5-star iTunes and the like. Or if you really want to help out the show even further, we do have a Patreon at patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where you can give any amount that you deem appropriate to help us produce further shows and get us to episode 200.
Absolutely. You can also find us individually. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Gizmozord, as well as Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Central on Convert to Raid, which, by the way, I didn't mention, and I've said this before, but that was the first podcast I ever listened to, and it's a huge honor to be a part of that show now. Just another thing, you guys have as a community, have helped me accomplish, so thank you very much for that. But that is Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Central. Multi, where can you be found?
I'm on Twitter at Multizord, and I'm also on another show called The Cavalry about Overwatch, which is on Twitter at The Cavalry Show. And I want to do a really quick shout out as well. There's actually another podcast out there that has a Zord on it. He doesn't necessarily go by his Zord tag, and it's totally unrelated. It's called The Mixed Six, and it's actually two of my buddies they were in college, but the one, Spencer, was actually my friend all the way back in high school. He's the guy I played Diablo 2 for actually just talk about random topics, but they also review beers as they go. And the theme is they drink a beer per topic, and the Mixed Six is the idea of as they drink more, they become more intoxicated, and the topics become more deep. So it's a super fun show. You guys might check that out. It's called The Mixed Six.
And TBK.
It's fine, dude. You should check it
How do
out.
I follow that up? I don't know. You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord and twitch.tv/TBKZord, where I do Heroes streaming and, more importantly, Heroes casting for Chair League. So really excited. Chair League Season 4 just started up on Monday and got to cast my first game. Super good. I'm excited to do more. And if you haven't heard of Chair League, chairleague.com, go check out those guys. They do a really good job over there. Find a team, play games weekly, and maybe even have them casted. It's really cool.
For sure. We want to give not only a special thanks to our patron producer, Ouroboros Zord, this week for helping to support the show, but again, just a huge thanks to all of you listening to this show, the Blizzard community, all of our guests that we've had on the show. It is an incredible feeling, again, making it to episode 100 here. And here's to 100 more, I guess.
That's right.
And
You don't guess.
It's
you
still
know.
mind-blowing. Yes, I know. But just, again, you guys are amazing, amazing community. And we'll see you guys next week.
I was waiting for you to say bye.
I always say it last.
No, I was waiting for Greg to say bye.
Gotcha.
Bye.
See, I'm so confused. I'm just in this limbo of not ending.
Gotcha.
That was a good way to end.
I don't know what to
100 right
do with myself. What's going on?
I'm freaking out, man.
Oh my
I'm freaking
gosh.
out. So should we do this giveaway?
We should.
Is that
Yeah, let's do some giveaways. We've got some Valera bundles we're going to give out. We're going to be giving out a Varian bundle, and we're going to be giving out a Machines of War bundle. And that one's pretty dang cool. That includes a ton of stuff. So
That's that whole thing with like Zarya and everything as well.
it's got the, I believe it's got Zarya and skin, Rexar and skin, Kerrigan, the legendary Kerrigan skin.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's a fantastic bundle.
It
So-
is. So
Gonna be
to
good stuff.
enter, what are we going to give away first? Variant or Valera?
Yeah, let's give away Valera first.
All right. So to enter the giveaway, just type 100. And
Right there
also,
into the Twitch. chat.
while we give people time to type that stuff in and whatnot, if you guys have any questions about the show, about who we are, if you're just joining us from the Blizzard launcher, thank you. And also, sorry the show is over, but thank you.
Thanks for coming. We're done.
You can still win stuff.
Yeah, you can.
Type 100
This-
in the chat.
is
Man,
true.
me asking for a question is a bad idea because if anybody types anything, I'm not gonna see that.
That's true. The hundreds.
100
come-
in numbers.
Yeah, write it out in numbers. For those of you typing out 100, just
Or,
do
like-
100.
Yeah, major props to you for the extra effort, but it's wrong.
Oh no, I would love to just.
Yeah, one honey doesn't count.
I mean, if you don't, if
Cast
you
Me
don't
Outside doesn't count. Just 100.
own
100.
Valera already, this is not going to be near as much for you. But I believe the Valera bundle actually contains the Fellsaber mount and
Is it?
the Demon Hunter skin, along
really?
with
For
Valera.
Valera, too?
So
Mhm.
there's some cool stuff. All right, so let this go for a few more seconds.
Go.
People
5,
type 100.
4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, look at that.
100.
It's because
How
I
about that?
paused. Fingering Dan. Fingering Dan. Got it in. And he won! Fingering
Wow.
Dan, you
Oh, we
are
got it in right before the end.
very welcome that I
Wow, look at
paused
that.
that one.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Look at that.
All right. Well, it was
And
fated.
now everyone else hates me for doing that.
Yeah, it's okay because we can roll again. Because there's look at all these people. There's still a ton of people
Right.
that are in.
Do they need to re-enter or is it still there?
No, I've
Perfect.
got it still. We ready
So
to
you
roll
just
for a
re-roll
second?
The same
A
set.
second Valera? Yeah, second Valera bundle.
Do we not use?
Uh,
Harkin
Mark
Minsk. They must want Minx to be in the game.
Guess so.
That'd be pretty sweet. Not gonna
Well,
lie.
congrats.
Not gonna lie. Should we? Are we gonna just keep doing the 100? Should we just roll 2 more times for other bundles, or do you want to do
Start
something
new
like
rolls,
creative?
or-
Let's do Zord.
Because a lot of people are still checking in. So yeah, let's switch it over to Zord.
Type in
Surprise.
Zord. This is like
hey,
this is
Danielle, I
like
see
that,
you. Happy birthday, Danielle.
Where is
This
she?
is like one of those.
there she is.
This is like one of those things where everyone did like exclamation point portrait.
Yeah. Waffle.
Yes, type in Zord, and this will be for a Varian bundle. This comes with his Logosh skin and Varian, so pretty cool. Yeah, portrait waffle. Waffle.
It's not your birthday, Josh.
There's my portrait. There's my portrait.
All right.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch, Spencer's gonna win now because I paused that. Nope. Nyago.
Yaggle.
Daggone.
Oh yeah, Dagon. We're playing a couple.
Good. All right, guys, and for the big one. For the big one, are we just gonna roll again for the big one?
Let's have them type in big number 1 for the big one.
BIG1. No spaces.
Big one. It's the big one.
Okay, big one. Go.
Until my child gets an official Zord name, I think you should refer to them as TBD Zord.
To be
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic.
Please. I'm only calling your son that from now on.
TBD Zord. Oh goodness, that is hilarious.
Please make him a Twitter.
Props to you, TBD Zord. Oh, I should. That's hilarious.
Does it matter if they have a space between big and one?
Oh,
Yes.
yes. No
Okay,
space.
So for those of you that did space, go back and throw in a big one, no space.
No space.
Caps don't matter, do they?
This is
Cast me
this is
outside
for
about
the
that.
Machines of War bundle. This thing's pretty sweet.
Big D. Bo. Big C for the rooster.
Big. Oh, there's
Oh,
Bo.
yeah.
What's up, Bo? How you doing?
Bo, you
Going
gonna
out.
join us for the after the game here?
You should.
I assume you're just gonna
Does a
try and
capital
stream
B?
the Greg, right?
Does a capital B mess it up?
It does. Casing
Okay.
doesn't matter. Casing doesn't matter.
Okay, that's good.
All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bam. Bone Witch.
Bone Witch. Like it. Congrats.
Okay,
for
so
that.
if you want to win more stuff, you can follow the link on our Twitter page or down below that says Discord. You can join our Discord. There's a contest channel, and there's a question in there, and 2 people on Sunday will randomly get Valera bundles
Yes.
from that contest channel. And then we'll also have a few more contests running throughout the week as part of our episode 100 celebration. So make sure to follow at Lords of the Storm on Twitter, or check out the Facebook as well, facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast, to check out more of the competition stuff.
Is the contest channel live now? Like, can they enter in
Contest channel
now?
is live.
Okay.
It's live. There are people posting like their fondest memories of the show in there right now.
Fondest and
But if
favorite
you're
heroes.
new, yeah, you don't have to. You can just post what hero you want next.
Or your fondest memory of the show might be that time that I signed on to the launcher and TBK told me to join Discord.
That's
February
true.
1st, 2017.
It's true.
That's
Yeah.
fine. That's your only memory. That's cool.
That's completely true.
All right. So if you guys want to join us for one of the after show games, open up the game. Step 1. Step 2.
Wait, they have to go to the game to play it? That's
yes.
weird.
Step 2. You're gonna type /join space LOTS to join the Lots channel, and then just wave your hand in there, and we'll get you in for a custom game. And
For those of you that check your Twitch messages here in just a second. That's where you'll be getting your codes.
Ryan, let me know whenever you have your stream ready, and we'll do like a sweet, seamless transition.
Oh, do you want me to stream?
Yeah, mine's still wonky for gameplay.
Okay.
I'm in town this weekend. I'm going to work on that.
You're going to have to give me a moment then. So why don't you start the game up and make the game, and then we'll do
Sounds good.
a Coolio.
Because, yeah, you're still sending out the codes, so.
Yeah.
Am I?
Coolio switch over.
Where is... I am not in the Lords of the Storm channel for some reason. What? All right, now I'm in there. So now...
We had Zagros and Dagome.
What map are we doing?
So far. What have we not done in a while? We could do Warhead or Braxis.
Oh, you can do... Have you always been able to do brawls in custom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Maybe it just... This portrait's very different, so it caught my eye.
Are you starting the...
Yeah, so let's... Yeah,
Okay.
we'll do Warhead.
Sounds good.
Warhead! If I can find it. Right there.
I still feel like Warhead's the one I've played the least. Like, just total time. I mean, I know it's also the newest one, but you know what I mean? Like, just for some reason, I just don't get it in queues, so...
A lot of people don't like Warhead.
I don't hate it, but I could see the draw against it, but...
To join, get in game type. I'll put it here in chat.
We'll get some of the people that we like to go home and stuff.
Were they okay? Yeah, I didn't see. Just invite
Okay.
whoever else said something before I got in. And then we will, if you guys get in here, we for these after show games, we all just get in one of our Discord voice channels and all on one channel, both teams, talking
Yep.
smack.
Well, to a degree, try to
Yeah,
keep
no.
the cursing to a somewhat
To
low
minimum.
level.
It's friendly smack.
Right. Like, dang you, you poopy head Valera.
All right. Am I? Is there a game yet that I
I
can
should
be
invite you.
invited to? Oh, hello.
And you'll be okay, Echo. I'm not even worried about you.
Okay. Coolio.
So we got room for 4 more in here.
All right. Post and lobby link.
There it is.
Join
Yeah.
up.
Click that thing.
Oh,
Oh,
there it
that,
goes.
that went quick. Some people just want the link. I don't know.
Yeah, and gotta have that. Gotta have that link.
Yoink.
Link is nice.
All right, so we're switching to Discord.
Yes. Is stream ready?
Almost. Just a sec. Okay. Blah blah blah.
Ah, we just filled up their Smash Buddy. Oh, and Raffle.
Let's see
Yeah, we'll do
here.
2 games tonight, even though we went super late.
Just because.
Just 'cause
Why not?
Just because I don't need sleep for work.
I do technically, but actually tomorrow I'm only teaching for half the day, so I mean I'm not as worried about it. I can just pump myself full of caffeine for 4 hours and I'll be alright.
There you go.
Okay. I've just about got stream set up on my side.
All right, guys.
We
So
can switch over for you, Greg.
I'm gonna close the stream down here for just a couple seconds. TBK will boot it back up, and we'll get this thing kicked off. So we'll see you in just a few seconds.
Are we gonna